Hey everyone, it's Jamie from IndependenceStNola and Seasonsinritual, and I'm here to talk about the Tennessee Three, a little bit more on this Libra full moon that we're getting out of. I think the moon is in Scorpio today. I'm making this on Friday. It's Good Friday for a lot of us, and why we are not heading into a civil war. Okay, so let's go over a few things first. Oh, and also about a dream I had a few months ago, maybe a month ago, about the healing of, it was basically the healing of the African American man's heart or black man's heart. And we'll get into that. And this is how I all see this playing out. So I know lots of bold statements, lots of bold statements. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, it's important to remember where we are in the astrological chart. We are in this age of Aquarius. Aquarius represents revolution. It represents freedom. But it represents a spiritual revolution, a spiritual freedom. It is a smart rebellion. So yes, so we're starting to see a lot of people rebel, right? There's these uprisings, which is good. It's also important to remember Pluto is in Aquarius now, and Pluto is transformation. And Pluto represents death, but death and transformation, right? Aquarius is fixed air. Scorpio is fixed water, right? Uranus rules Aquarius. Just stick with me, guys. Pluto rules Scorpio, okay? Scorpio also rules, they say the eighth house, which would be death and taxes, but also like other people's money. And so all of this is starting to come to the surface, right? With this Libra full moon that was happening on the 5th and the 6th, Libra is an air sign. Libra represents the scales, right? Libra sign, if you look at it, is two scales. It's the scales of justice. Libra is cardinal. It's initiating all this. The full moon illuminates. But it's also important for you guys to see what we consider in our Western mythology or astrology, the god of war, if we will, Mars. Mars right now is in Cancer, okay, which is signaling there's not going to be a civil war, okay? There's no energy for that. Mars, now people are going to get angry, mad, all these things, but energetically, when I talk about these things, I'm talking energetically. So it's important to start looking around you. It's important to start. This is why we say, like, trust your intuition. You know, if you're listening to the news and things that are making you scared, that's kind of their job in order for you to keep listening. Their job is to get viewership, and that's how they make money. They sell ads. So it's really important for you guys to remember that. And that's why I'm coming on and I'm talking about the energetics of where we are now. Mars is not in a volatile sign at all. Mars is in the exact opposite. Mars is in Cancer. Mars is feeling vulnerable, and he sees when he shows that vulnerability, there's strength in that. That explains, protesting over the outrage of children, these mass shootings, right? These peaceful protests, I'll say that too, over these mass shootings that keep happening here in America. When protests and, when people use the word rebellion and revolution, it can go a lot of ways, but it's important to see the protests that are happening in Tennessee are very, they're peaceful protests, correct? And then what happened were these 3 Democrats joined the protest. 2 of them were 2 young black men, and 1 was a white woman who used to be a teacher. If you guys haven't been keeping up with this, I would suggest you guys kind of look into it. Because to me, it speaks exactly to what's going on astrologically and where we are. So the 3 Democrats protested with the demonstrators peacefully, and now what's happened is that they expelled the 2 black Democrats, and they didn't expel the white teacher. And she said, basically, it's because I'm white and they're black. Now, is she correct? Yes. And it's time we start calling out racism as racism, okay? But what it's also exposed, which is very interesting, is that they are saying that Tennessee State House was run like a dictatorship for years, right? For years. And so with this full moon in Libra, who, by the way, Libra is ruled by Venus, okay? Again, Venus is mature. She's not a petty bitch or whatever. She is grounded, she's earth. And so what it brought to light was basically, quote unquote, the injustice of how the state house was being run. Laws were not being made fairly in a democratic fashion. So this isn't just illuminating what's on the surface. This is illuminating what has been happening for years, right? The underground, Pluto, that's what Pluto represents. Pluto is now in Aquarius, and all of this is coming out to light, which I would, point back to the full moon for that, illuminating this, illuminating that justice is not being served right now, illuminating how we need to bring things back into balance. What's also interesting is all the stuff that's coming out about Supreme Court Justice Thomas, correct? Because Pluto represents other people's money, and it seems he's been taking a lot of it. Allegedly, this is all, I don't know if I'd say for entertainment purposes only, because this is honestly all in the news. So again, Pluto is bringing to light, is bringing up the underground, is showing what is being done, what's been being done in the shadows. And you have to remember, Pluto is in the lunar south node right now. Excuse me, Scorpio. Scorpio's in lunar south node. And signs that are in that lunar south node are leaving behind. They're getting transmuted all those lower vibrations. So Scorpio's lower vibrations would be secrecy. I was going to say secrecy, hiding things, lying, just revenge, all those lower Scorpio vibes, right? And so Scorpio's been in the South Node now for a while, and it's starting to get to the end of it, and it's dumping all those lower vibrations. That's why all these things have been coming to light, for about a year and a half now. And so now Scorpio's ruler, Pluto, is in Aquarius, and it's still bringing these things to light so they can get transformed. It makes perfect sense that all the stuff about the Supreme Court is coming out right now, and Judge Thomas, in the thing, it was other people's money, right? Because that's what Scorpio and Pluto rule over, okay? And so it's also not surprising to me that the Tennessee 3 is happening right now, because they're protesting, a peaceful protest, mind you, about the need for change, right? And when it comes to gun laws, they are standing with their constituents, which are people. That's what you're supposed to do when you're voted in, right? Your people vote for you, so you can have that you're their voice. And right now, when that was happening, Mercury was in Taurus, I'm pretty sure, right? And Taurus is ruled by Venus, right? And Venus rules Libra. And I know, you guys, it's one thing, you like to keep up with all these things that I'm saying, but it's also just important to hear the energetics of things. First and foremost, there is no energetics that we're going to go into civil war. I cannot express that enough, okay? But these things are going to keep being brought up because where we are as a society, because of where the planets are moving, but also because this Pluto has moved into Aquarius. And so, again, when we talk about meeting old situations with a new way of thinking or a new way of feeling, that's the beginning of this, for sure. I do believe that, because this is, so I do believe that this is also healing so many old patriotic, I don't know, stories brought up by the patriarchy that were always a lie. you have to remember that patriarchy is about it's just about complete control, and and it's breaking apart, right? That Tennessee state house that was just run like a dictatorship. It was just about complete control. It wasn't run like a democracy. And so this is breaking that apart. This dream that I had a few months ago, which I wrote down. I don't write down all my dreams because you can imagine a lot of them are completely bananas. But there are certain dreams, and I know you guys have certain dreams where you're like, I need to remember this. So I went and wrote it down. And the dream was, it was me and a black man, not someone I knew, not one of my friends. And we were both laying face down in the dirt. And it was like, I probably should have read this before I came on, but whatever. I'm going to just go with what I remember. Anyway, the earth basically sucked out all the poison and all the hurt and all the pain that he had been holding. And I'm saying he as the royal he, is representing all the pain from that has been placed upon black men, okay? And I could feel it from where I was laying down, and we both kind of, did I feel it as deeply as him? No, I was just kind of witnessing and seeing what was happening. And we both sat up and we were both kind of holding our chest. And I was like, are you okay? And he was just like, whoa. And he asked me if I was okay. And I was like, yeah, I think so. But then I just asked him again, are you okay? And he said, and he just kind of sat there quietly. And he was like, yeah, we're going to be okay. And right when I woke up, I was like, the black man's heart has just been healed. It's healing so many stories. And I see this. And, when these things happen, you write them down, you kind of think about it, and then you just kind of have to wait and see how it's going to start unfolding. And this is it to me. This is that storyline unfolding. This is the beginning, energetically, of how all this is healing, because it was 2 young black men that were expelled. Yes, is this still that patriarchy, racist story? On one hand, right? But we've got to look below the surface, okay? We've got to start thinking about things differently. We've got to start feeling about things differently. Below the surface, that's Pluto. That's Pluto in Aquarius. What it's rewriting to me, and it's going to start rewriting so much more, but it's rewriting the story of violence in America. First and foremost, we were brought up that, black people were always violent, black men were violent. That's all we saw, right? It was a lie. If you're going to be violent, you're going to be violent. And okay, and so they're standing up saying, hey, we're black men, we don't want guns. We can have gun reform. So that's busting that fucking patriarchy bullshit story, the story of black men with guns. And then second of all, when I was thinking about doing this video this morning, I kept thinking, well, how the hell am I going to explain this idea of, a white woman and a black man in the healing of the black man's heart, because it's not this idea that, black women or Latino women or Latinx. And this, when I say women, I mean however you identify, okay? I'm not saying, cis women 100%. On one hand, it is cis white women healing this story with black men. And by that, I mean, they were like, Jamie, it's like the story of Emmett Till. It's rewriting. It's not rewriting that story. It's healing that wound. It's healing that wound. It's healing the wound that this white woman made up this fake story about a young black man sexualizing her, and so they killed him. It's a lie. That never happened. Emmett Till happened, yes, but that woman said that never happened. He didn't whistle at me. I mean, these patriarchal stories, they're being just healed. They're being healed. And so when I saw those 2 black men and that white lady all holding hands in solidarity, right? It's healing that story. It's seeing them as colleagues. It's seeing them as equals, nothing more, nothing less, okay? We don't need to go on these tangents about anything more except for bringing this into balance, healing that story. That, I mean, it's just this weird patriarchal story because the patriarchy is all about fear and control. But healing that story, I mean, about black men and white women. Okay, that's what it's doing. It's healing that story. It's getting rid of that story. It's just seeing them energetically as equals, as colleagues, and how do we move forward? Okay, so that's the story I'm talking about when I say about the dream I had. It's twofold, right? Black men are going to be healing a lot of this pain in their heart, right? Because I saw Gaia take it out of them. But it's also healing this story, this fake narrative that the patriarchy started between white women and black men. It's a lot, you guys. So so this is energetic. This is energetics. This is the energetics that are there, okay? So it's important to remember this and stay above the fray and the rhetoric and blah, because this is, again, fear-mongering is real. But I'm telling you, where the planets are, there's no energy for a fucking civil war. There's none, okay? Does it mean some crazy person is going to be writing this? I don't mean to say crazy person, whatever. You guys know what I mean. Be writing this stuff on the internet, and sure. Will they find something to make it seem more salacious? Sure. Okay. But energetically, it's not there. Energetically, the patriarchy, all those old stories are being healed. They're not even being rewritten. They're going, Pluto's here. Pluto's transmuting them. And they're just being healed. So it's important, as Pluto is just barely in Aquarius right now, and he's going to move back into Capricorn here, not too bad, in a few months. It's important to see what else, to see below the surface, to see what else is falling, to see, now they have changed the entire state house in Tennessee. It's going to bring reforms for that. It's now going to start bringing the spotlight on every state house in America, okay? People aren't going to be afraid to speak up. They're also going to be letting people know if it's being run like a dictatorship. All that dark money that has been, moving things behind the scenes, it's coming to light, And don't be surprised if more things keep coming out with justices or the law or things like that. I would also say this. It's important for us not to take everything right when it's first reported, okay? Do a little digging. It's okay to be a little skeptical, because there is a lot of stake with the patriarchy trying to keep things running. The difference is, energetically, it's got no gas behind it. So, I think I'm going to kind of leave it at that. I can go again and just one more time over about, let me just say this before ending. Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio is fixed water. This fixed water, which is about emotions, transformation, is in Aquarius. Aquarius is fixed air. Aquarius, like we said, the rebellion, the revolution, freedom. So you have these two fixed signs together, emotions, thinking, heart, feelings. And you guys take the time, go and see what, these signs rule, see what Scorpio rules, see what Aquarius rules, and you'll start seeing these themes are what's coming up and what's being changed. And so it's important, though, to see where Mars is. Mars is the quote-unquote god of war. He's matured. I see him as a spiritual warrior. He's in Cancer. There's nothing, he's in Cancer. Cancer is the home. Cancer is also a water sign, right? Which, again, to me, this is when the intuitive astrology comes in. This is not mathematics. When you have Pluto, who rules fixed water, who rules Scorpio, who is fixed water, that in Aquarius, all the water signs are going to feel that, no matter who their ruler is, okay? You know, Cancer is ruled by the moon, and I can tell you right now, I'm pretty sure the moon is in Scorpio, okay? But that's just because I checked the wheel before I got on here. But basically what I'm saying is all the air signs are going to be feeling this Pluto energy, okay? Whether they're mathematically getting a sextile or opposition or whatever, and this is just me intuitively. And all the water signs are going to be feeling this energy of Aquarius, okay? Whether they're mathematically hitting it or not, okay? You know, I know it gets overwhelming, but it's also going back to where Mercury was on the time of the full moon, right? And it being in Taurus, Taurus is ruled by Venus, Libra is ruled by Venus, even though, you know, they're different signs. But that's still because Venus rules Taurus and Libra, that's bringing in some grounding to Libra, right? Libra is those scales. Mercury rules Gemini. Gemini is an air sign. What's happening in air signs? Pluto, okay? Now, where was Gemini mathematically? I don't know. I don't even think Helen knows because I don't think we talked about it. But, you know, the idea here is to let you guys know things are being healed, things are being transmuted, new ideas are emerging. Yes, light is being shown on dark money, dark secrets, dark things, right? But it's coming to the light because we are smart enough to see things and say, this is how we want to be moving forward. Okay, I know that in my heart. And I know you guys think I'm an optimist, but I always say someone's got to be, there's more of us that are here, right, to make these changes. That's why this is happening with those bright young men in Tennessee. That's why it's happening with that woman who's a school teacher that's standing there together. It is all, to me, it makes perfect sense. So let those old patriarchal stories transmute, okay? All of them about, you know, race wars between the sexes, you know, this idea that, violence with guns and in Black America, let that transmute and be healed. You know, the idea is we keep standing up for and listening and supporting and energetically seeing that, you know, this is coming through. Because they kept saying a lot of times this Libra full moon was going to be full of love, and then we see what's happening. But I get it. This is, you know, compassion and love shows up in different ways. And so if we can keep dipping into that and start seeing like, wow, like this is amazing, this is happening, because we can move forward in a more compassionate, loving way, that's great. If you listen to the news, it's going to tell you the exact opposite, right? That's kind of what they do. So we're in a good place energetically, friends. If you have any questions about this, please reach out, something in the comments, or you guys can email me. Again, Good Friday for those who celebrate this part of religion. I know Passover was a couple days ago. So again, this is some of the holiest of weeks for some religions. So all this happening too with this timing, to me, is, you know, all good signs. But I mean that in the way of in love, not because I believe in organized religion, because I do that. But I do believe in love, and I do believe in compassion, and I do believe that we are starting new conversations. And I know that Pluto is transmuting so much right now, even with just his little toe in Aquarius. Okay, you guys, I'm going to leave it there. Have a great weekend. Of course, if you guys would like to schedule a session with me, you can reach out to me via Instagram, my website, or of course my YouTube. Helen and I should make a video this Sunday. I'm going to be in Alabama with my family, so we might be doing a little Zoom action, but we'll get it done. All right, see you guys soon. Bye.